Welcome to Nerdy Optimism
where everyone has a story
with Dr. Q
and Dr. J. Welcome back to Nerdy Optimism. I'm Dr. J.
I'm Dr. Q.
Dr. Q, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
It's pretty good. Pretty good. I can't complain at all. Another episode. I'm excited.
I am too. I really am. I'm excited about our guest this week. It is the wonderful Miss Rebecca.
She's great. She's great. A very timely interview. So exciting.
It is exciting. So before we hop into Rebecca, I want to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
In thinking about nerdiness, there's a lot of things that we kind of miss the mark on. So I want to ask you, what are some cool TV shows that you haven't seen?
TV shows. So is this a shot at my lack of coolness? So
I mean, take it how you will.
touche. Shows that I haven't seen that most would describe as being cool. What about movies? I can do a show and a movie. How about that?
Okay, I like that.
So a show I would say would be in Girlfriends. That's a show that I just like when people start to talk about it, I just kind of fade to the background. What's it? Tracy Ellis Ross. Like I really didn't become a fan until Blackish. I don't know her pre-Blackish. So
You're stabbing me in the heart here, Shannon.
I know. If you think that hurts, I'm afraid to even tell you the movie that I'm about to mention.
Okay.
Like I'm ashamed. I don't even know if I should share this.
Oh no, come with it. Come with it. I can't hear you. Say it a little louder.
I'm gonna say it with my chest. All right. Love Jones. I mean, I'm a big Neil Long fan. I'm a huge Lorenz Tate fan. I think I don't know. I don't know what happened. And there were a few times where I wanted to watch it. I think I fell asleep or I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
Don't tell anybody.
I'm telling everybody.
So.
Shannon, that's, I mean, it makes me feel better about my coolness, but oh my goodness, Shannon.
I know.
Love Jones, Girlfriends? Really?
Right. I have some theories, but we'll just have to save that for another day. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. Oh, wow. Okay, well, while I get over that shock, maybe you can bring me back and let us know your nerdy reflection for the week.
Nerdy reflection for the week. I was listening to Rebecca's take. I was re-listening to it over the weekend, and it got me to think about, she talks about her mother. She talks about grief. And it got me to thinking about a time to where a candy drive, right? You ever participated in a candy drive? Many candy drive. And as our audience know, I like to win. And so I embarked upon this candy drive with so much vigor to take down the entire classroom school if I could. I got so many people sign up to buy my candy. So the way it works, you sign up the people, and one day the candy comes in, you take the candy and you deliver it. I had so much candy, so much candy. I had to have it in this huge box. And I remember walking home with all of this candy, like gobs of candy. Was walking through this field. And as I was walking, there were young adults, maybe teenagers, grown men. I'm not sure. Check this out, Dr. Q. I was a young lad, young lad. Do you know that the young adults came and took my candy?
Oh, wow.
Took my candy. I mean, I fought them off. But at the end of the day, I just straight snatch all of my candy.
Wow.
So here I am. I know, sad story. Here I am walking home with no candy. What am I going to tell these people? These people don't want their money back with this candy. So I tell my grandmother what happened. She's upset, you know. Everyone's upset, to be honest. And so this probably happened on, say, Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. Years have passed, right? And I'm sitting on a Saturday. So a few days later, I'm sitting at a chair in my grandmother's house, and she. A lot of people here in the deep south have these storm doors, and so the door is open, but the storm door it's open away, so you can see outside. So I'm sitting, and I'm just watching cartoons, just chilling, probably drinking on a soda, who knows? But I'm chilling, and as I'm sitting down, in the peripheral, I see these two guys walking down the street. And I looked over, and lo and behold, I'm like, those look like the guys that took my candy, right? So I remember saying something to my grandmother. My grandmother hops up, runs, out. She had a fence. And this is not a embellish. You know how sometimes you tell stories, there are added things. I could have sworn she hopped over that fence, but I'm not sure. Maybe she didn't hop through, but she ran through really fast. She ran over there, and she snatched those guys up, both of them, gave them a piece of her mind. Long story short, got my candy back, got my money back. And not only did she do that, she witnessed to them. She gave them a word. She poured love into them. Not only did she literally like snatched them up, but she told them she loved them and she wanted them to do better, right? And as a kid, witnessing this was something that I would never forget. So having someone in your life that was such an intricate part of your life, when she passed, I was a young kid. And my reflection from listening to Rebecca, I just reflect back to how great she was in my life when I thought about that episode. But I also thought about how, as a child, I really didn't know how to receive what had happened when she was no longer with us. And so part of this conversation today, yes, Rebecca's going to talk about her mom. We're going to talk about grief, but being a gangster for kids, I want us adults to think about the kids and what they're going through when the loss of loved one happens in their life. So my reflection for today, let's think about the kids and let's think about how they are dealing with the grief, especially during these times.
Wow. Wow. Wonderful reflection. A grandmother's love, a mother's love is nothing like it.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Key, if you don't mind, let's keep this show rolling. Can you give our guests a little stat for today?
Sure.
A nerdy stat, that is.
A nerdy stat. Okay. So, in thinking about Rebecca's episode, and we're speaking about grief. So, according to WebMD, 57% of Americans are grieving the loss of someone close to them, with this loss occurring in the last 3 years. So that's the majority of our neighbors are grieving. And I wanted to get even more specific because an area in research that is actually lacking is looking at young adults and their grieving process. So there's very little research on young adults. So for daughters who lose their mothers, it is very powerful. It has a very powerful effect on young adult daughters. And these motherless daughters can be filled with senses of insecurity, and it can shake their sense of self-identity. So losing a mother, whether you're a child, a young adult, or even an adult, is so impactful.
Very interesting, nerdy stat there, Dr. Q. Quickly, do they mention any coping mechanism with this?
Yes, so definitely there's ways to cope with grief and loss. So one great thing that you can do is try to carry on your mom's traditions. Also, if there are fundraising efforts, let's say if you lost your mom to a certain illness, participating in those fundraising efforts can be a way to cope, creating a collage, um, thinking through and accepting your new and different identity without the presence of your mom. Support groups are huge, and finding a maternal figure that you can still gather that advice from or still lean on that shoulder is also very helpful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Miss Rebecca Hood.
Yes, let's bring her in.
Welcome back to Nerdy Optimism. I'm Dr. J.
And I'm Dr. Q.
So today we have a special guest with us. We have Miss Rebecca Hood on the show.
So excited. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Man, it's been hard getting you in, Rebecca. Life has happened
Yes.
on so many avenues, but extremely excited to have you in.
Thank you.
So Rebecca is someone that is really special to me, and I'm just so excited that she could share with us today, with our audience today, about her story. Rebecca is a remarkable young lady, a graduate from North Carolina A&T.
Yes.
I wanted her to be Evolve, but it didn't happen. But I think she picked a great place with North Carolina. Also, I've known Rebecca since birth, so I'm also honored again that she would share her story with us today. So, Rebecca, I'm going to open up the floor to you, and I want you to share your story where you would like to begin.
Okay. I guess I can start beginning-ish. So I am from Nashville. Like she said, she's known me my whole life. So born and raised in Nashville. Went to school at MLK, graduated. My parents helped me at very high standards, I feel. Didn't really allow me to kind of say I can't do something or to like shy away from opportunity because it was a bit challenging. I really pushed myself in high school to get a scholarship for college because I am the youngest of 5 kids. So we all know how expensive college is. So I really, really stressed myself in high school to get into school and be debt free, which I was able to do. And I went to A&T. Like Quincy said, yes, that was the biggest blessing, like really, and it changed my life a lot. I think that I was truly meant to go to A&T. The people that I met, the experiences that I had, and the support that I was able to find in North Carolina, regardless of not knowing anyone when I moved there. It was a complete clean slate, but I was able to find like a family there. And so went on through first 2 years, engineering school. It was whooping my butt, but I was able to make it through. You know, I feel like it was normal, like college stress stuff, you know, being a college student, you're broke, you have those normal kind of things that are in your life. But my junior year, my mom actually was sick. And so it was really crazy. We had just talked The day before, normal conversations. That was my best friend. So we talked every day, multiple times a day on the phone. Like it was very normal for my friends to know, if I walk in and it's just like, hey, y'all, and I'm on the phone and I keep walking, it's because I'm talking to my mom. But I woke up and I never forget, like my phone just was blown up with notifications and I'm not that popular. So I was, kind of scared because people messaging me, like my family on Twitter, on Instagram, calling me, texting me. And so no one's saying anything, but it's just like, what's wrong? So when I called back, they told me that my mom fell ill, very sudden, very unexpected. And I just kind of had to lie in wait because I was 7 hours from home. And so it's just like, what's happening? People don't want to tell you like the full extent of things, I think because they were scared of how I would react and that I was alone. I didn't have like a family member to go to that could provide me some comfort. So they were really sort of hesitant on information that they gave me. But later that day, when my dad called and told me that I had to come home, I knew then like it wasn't it. And I feel like in that moment, in that phone call, I remember I like passed out on the floor, like completely hit the ground. I felt like life had really kind of like opened a trap door on me, and I like fell through because I really was coasting and I didn't have any issues. I had never really dealt with grief or having to learn how to cope with anything traumatic in life. And so going home, just like that idea that this is really like the of a huge part of my life. Like she was really my rock. And so coming home and having to see her in the state that she was because I got there the night after or the day after, and she had a really rough night that first night in the hospital. And so by the time I got there, it was pretty much like it's nothing that they could do. And being 21, I was freshly 21 at that, because she passed exactly a month after my birthday. And so it was just like, what am I supposed to do? And I was really stuck and like blank is how I felt, really numb. But I felt like for a reason I had to hold it together. Like I just felt like this, we'll be okay. Like let's just be composed. And it was really because like the next day my brother had to come in. And so you have to be there for your family, And so I put that before like my feelings. And it also helped me kind of avoid my feelings, trying to hold that together and kind of show that I was okay, that it was hard, but I was okay. And so I was home for 2 weeks after she passed to, prepare her funeral, to get ready for that. And that was like, those 2 weeks are a blur. Honestly, I really don't remember much about it. I just know I was walking around and like people could tell that I wasn't okay because my eyes were super puffed. Like I didn't even really look like myself. And just trying to figure out like, what is it that I'm supposed to do? Like I'm a junior in college. How am I going to go back to school 7 hours away from my family? Like, how do I leave my dad, because you lose a parent. And so I clung to him like instantly and living in like that fear that something could happen to him and you're all I have. And so I had to kind of pull myself out of that because I knew that me not finishing school would be like the biggest disappointment and the biggest disgrace to my mom, because she worked so hard to get me to that point. And we had sacrificed so much to get to that point. So it was just like, I felt that it would be a slap in her face to give up, basically. So somehow, I went back to school, and I was extremely depressed, in a very dark place. I really isolated myself from everyone because I feel like I was so angry, at God, really. I was really angry at God, like, how could you do this to me? And that's the question that I continue to ask is like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to figure this out? That summer, I had an internship in Texas, so it took me even further away from home. So it was just really like, what is this sick, cruel game like that you're playing on me right now? You know, you take this person out of my life, but you expect me to somehow continue on, and then you isolate me even more than I'm doing myself. Like it was, I felt like I was in a sick, like mind game is how I really felt. And it was because I was victimizing myself. Now that I can look back on it, you know, like I really was just upset and angry and I didn't understand. And so, I mean, I was in that place and I can honestly say for a whole year, even coming back home in March, that cut my senior year short. I won't be able to have a graduation, you know what I mean? So then it was like, so not only did you pull me through these years, but then you don't even let me finish how I want to. And so that kind of sucks me back into the hole, but it's been a really like long road. I can say where I am today, I'm in a much better headspace. Really starting to feel like I'm pulling myself sort of out of that. Like I'm coming out of that really dark place in my life. Finding more things to be grateful for. Still knowing like at the end of the day, like I am blessed and you just have to, you know, sometimes bad things happen to good people. And it's really like, we don't know those answers. We'll never know those answers. And so I'm just trying to find new ways to cope now and just trying to be more positive. So that's kind of where I've come from, I guess. That's my story.
So, Rebecca, you mentioned going to several places in isolation, and you also mentioned feeling pulled back. And I'm assuming you're saying the coronavirus pandemic interrupted your senior year, and you didn't get to graduate after working so hard throughout school. Now, that is a lot to cope with during that time period. What were some tools or resources that you used in order to even learn how to cope?
Oh, I feel like the tools that I gained were really the people around me. As odd as that may sound, like I didn't read a book and just felt like, you know, it gave me the answers. Like it really was pulling myself out of pushing people away to actually talk to them and learn that this is not odd how you feel. Like that this is normal for grief to make you feel this way and to go through these different emotions, and being able to find people who I felt like understood what I was going through, and didn't try to force me, you know, this is the way that you need to get over it, because there's really no right way. And I felt like some people did come at me with that. And I was really like defensive towards it. And so finding those people that would sit and listen and talk to me, that was the biggest resource I had in learning how to cope with my emotions. Definitely.
Rebecca, can you give our listeners a time frame for everything?
Yeah. My mom passed in March of 2019, March 19th of 2019. And I, oddly enough, it was maybe a few days before her first year anniversary that I was sent back home during my senior year. So that whole year was like a whirlwind, because March 2019, then I went back to school in April, and then I moved to Texas in the beginning of June. So I never got to like stop after she passed. I was on the go, I was on the move, because after the internship, I was back in North Carolina to finish school. And so it was just like I never sat down and I never dealt with it. Mm-hmm. So that's like, it was a lot to happen in 1 year. It was a doozy. Yeah.
So you mentioned obviously grief. Was there a moment in which you realized that you hadn't gotten over or you hadn't addressed the grief? What moment, you know, was it that you were like, hey, I need to do something with myself, right?
Mhm. I feel like that was maybe around like the end of June, July, because like I said, I suppressed it so much. And so it's like I wouldn't believe it. Like, no, I'm fine. And I had really like talked myself into that. You know, you have those emotions and I'll push down because I'm fine. And I have to tell myself that because like it's things that I need to do right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that was my way of moving and pushing through what I needed to. And so I feel like at the end of June, um, like I said, I was really depressed. And so it was like crying myself to sleep every night, depressed,
Mm-hmm.
getting up in the morning, having to like put rags on my eyes before I go to work, just so I can look normal. Like, you know, that kind of like it was really dark. I would come home from work and just sit. Like,
So in in those moments, did you ever consider or think about going to get professional help for that?
I did. I really did. I actually looked into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm a college student. And so it
Right.
was, I can't afford that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really needed it. I really needed somebody to talk to, especially when I was by myself. And I wish that I would have just sacrificed and went to see a therapist. Um, and that's still something that I need to do, to be honest. Like I still need to invest in that to really make sure my mental health is on lock because it can slip and slide, especially this time of year with the holidays coming up. So it's already kind of that feeling. But I definitely did think about going to get a therapist. Absolutely did.
So, were you aware of any no cost services maybe on your campus? Is that something that is advertised or widely known on campuses?
Here's the thing about on campus counseling. So I was going to an on campus counselor. They do definitely offer those services. They do email about those services. They put flyers out. They advertise it quite well, I would say, on A&T's campus. But I was going um, a couple, maybe like a month before she passed, and I was going because I felt like our relationship was strained due to me getting older. And it's like those boundaries, you know, as you get older and she's still used to being able to tell you, you know, what you need to do, that type of mother-child situation. And so I was going how to communicate these feelings to her, like this is adding stress onto what I'm doing. And I really just need time sometimes. Like it's not me pushing away from you. And so I felt like for me to be going to counseling to help better my relationship with her and then for her to pass, like that was like, what? You know? And so I stopped going. I absolutely stopped going. And I loved it when I was going. It really was um, helping our situation, like helping how we talk to each other, helping um, how she would offer advice, like how she wouldn't push it, you know, how some moms can do, push it on you sometimes, but it was more like her giving advice to a young adult child. Um, but yeah, and it really just like, I don't know, I think I was kind of shell shocked at the fact that I was doing that and then this happened. And instead of just going back to talk about it, I just like ran from it and I didn't go back.
So, you also mentioned that you had a village around you of support. Um, and sometimes with a village, when you care so much for someone, I'm thinking about family members and friends, sometimes that can become overbearing also. So did you experience the good and the bad, or was your experience overall just good?
I did experience the good and the bad. It's like you're so thankful that people want to know that you're okay. Um, and that you know that you have people you can call if you want to talk. But sometimes it can just be so much when they're calling your phone and they're texting your phone and they're all asking me the same question, like, how are you doing? Like, are you okay? And it's just like, no, I'm not, you know? But it's like, how do I can't say that back to every person that's texting my phone without them being like, oh God, we need to go get her. Like, you know, then it gets escalated to that situation. So I really just was like, I'm good, I'm okay. You know, like the little short replies, or like I said, I isolated myself. So then I would just stop replying, or I wouldn't answer the phone call, like, because I don't know how to fake that I'm okay or tell you that I'm not without you being like super, super worried. And just like, I don't need that much involvement, but sometimes you just want to be able to like, I'm not okay. I don't know what I'm going to do. No, today wasn't a good day, you know, but you just don't want to tell people that. So I think that was definitely the bad side of it. It's just being bombarded with it like over and over constantly. So yeah, definitely experienced that. But it's just like you're thankful and it's just like, well, thank you for checking, but I'm okay. And so that's what I would just start saying. That became like my line. Yeah.
So right now there's probably a college student listening to this podcast, and they may be experiencing grief, if you will. You have any recommendations for them?
Go talk to someone. One, don't do what I did. Don't force yourself to figure it all out yourself. That is definitely wish I didn't do that. So that's going to be the number one piece of advice, is to do the opposite of what I went through instead of going down that road. I would say the second one is that I don't quite know how, because I feel like it's different for everyone, but find that source of motivation, like wherever it may come from. Sometimes you just need to be able to tell yourself something, like when you wake up and it's just like, oh, I don't want to do this today, but I got to do it for like this reason. Like have those things, like, no, you know, to help you stay focused, I feel like. And staying focused, I think, helps you like really finish what you have started or finish what you're going through. And can help you from talking yourself out of giving up. That's one thing that I found. So I feel like talking to someone, having things to, I don't know, it could be an affirmation. I've started those for myself lately. It's just having those affirmations that can get me going through the day. I would say those would be probably my top two pieces of advice. And to be transparent with your teachers. That was one thing that I did do, and it helped me tremendously to just say, I'm going through a rough time. You know me as a student, and I just need a little extra time. Like, I just wasn't able to do it, but I'll get it done. You know, just having that communication, just really kind of letting them know where you're at and being honest about it. I feel like they're way more considering and will allow you to have those extensions that you need to get your work done.
Awesome.
Great advice. I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
So, in thinking about the grief process, and you already mentioned that everyone has to grieve in their own way, what would you say from your friends and family on the outside looking in? What do you think that they misunderstood the most about your grieving process?
That's a really good question. I think that I feel like for me, the biggest misunderstanding was that she just doesn't want to talk to us anymore. I had to really, I feel like, rebuild some relationships in the past couple months, family wise, because me needing time to figure things out, like I just need some time to figure out headspace. I need some time to figure out like what I'm going through, to digest, to give me a plan, like about how I'm gonna go forward. And I think that they took it as, well, she just don't want to talk. She won't answer the phone. We try to check on her. It comes off that way. Um, and I hate that it does, because it's just like, I just couldn't do it those days. I physically couldn't talk about it. This is honestly the first time that I've really like talked through my situation. So it's just, I didn't have the words to say, and I didn't mean any disrespect or harm, but I just needed you to let me be for a while. And I think that that was definitely misunderstood. But coming back, with my family and being able to now have these conversations, like they understand where I was coming from.
So, Rebecca, you've been so gracious with your time. Can I squeeze in a couple of more questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so, the two things on my mind, I just want to know. So I know you talked about the affirmations and just trying to do things that make, Rebecca a better Rebecca. Mm-hmm. So would love to know, what are you reading now? Because I know I can tell, the way that you're wired, that you're constantly thirsting for knowledge and things to kind of help push you in that direction. And so that's A. And then B, I think I would like to know, I think Dr. Q would like to know as well, what's that one thing that you had to leave on the table in college that you weren't able to complete, that for whatever reason you feel kind of guilty about it and you just won't let it go, right? So those two things, we're just trying to see where you are with your affirmations and that one thing that I know you talked about not having a graduation. Mm-hmm. So I know that was a huge one. So if there was anything else, we would love to know.
Of course. So first one, which is where I really got into like affirmations and speaking positively to yourself, is, and because it's a long name, guys, so excuse my language, this is the name of the book, not me, okay? You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. And I literally walked into Booksmith randomly when I was there to buy the new Twilight book, because I am a Twilight fan. So I was there, and I don't know, I just walked down, it was like the self-help aisle. I was just like, let me see. I hear people read these books. Like, let's see if they actually work. And so I seen this one, and the title one grabbed me, because I was like, okay, maybe this isn't like a typical self-help book, and it isn't. And in the book, she just speaks on, one, you have to live your life in a faith over fear approach. And losing my mom, I was all fear, everything. I was fearful of people leaving my life, people that I loved, because you can't hold on to them. No matter how tight you might think you have them, like, you never know. And so I was very fearful of everything happening. And reading that, it's just like, you can't focus on the negative, or you're only going to bring that to yourself. Like, you're going to attract it in your life. And so you have to have that positive thinking. You have to sometimes tell yourself, like, I can do this. I am worthy of these opportunities. Like, I have everything that I need in order to be who I want to be and be where I want to be at. Just like telling myself, those things, especially now, because I'm yet again in another state. I don't know how to sit down clearly, but I'm in another state by myself. And so I have to keep myself going. And so that book has really just it's been kind of crazy, and just talking me through some things and helping me see things that have happened in my life in a different light. And that's why I mentioned earlier, I was like, I victimized myself, because it's like, how dare you say, how did this happen to me? Which you think it can happen to someone else, but you can't experience trauma yourself. So it's just like, we all go through things in life, and it's really about what you see in the journey instead of seeing things done to you in life. So like, this book has really, really, really been helping me mentally into just like implementing different things. Like, don't allow yourself to wallow for forever. You do have to get up. And so that's been helping me a lot. And then the other question that I feel like I left on the table at A&T, I feel like I really did everything except travel abroad. And I just feel like that would have given me, I don't even know. Like I said, I was really fearful. So going all the way across the world by yourself, having those experiences, like new culture, new places, new food, new people, it's just you really have to kind of adapt to this really ambiguous situation, I would say. And I wasn't able to do that. And that kind of happened a little bit. I was supposed to do it my junior year. I was supposed to be gone my fall semester of junior year. And it was like all of my friends, that's what even made it even worse, is that all of my friends were doing that semester, that year actually. Yeah. And so that's why I was on campus like by myself during junior year when my mom passed. So that it's like sick mind game is how I felt. I felt like I was stuck in a simulation and I just didn't know how to get out. So yeah, I'd say if it was one thing left on the table, it would absolutely have been to be able to like go and just experience life like that. That's something that now I still plan to do, but I just have to wait a bit, especially now. But yeah, that would be, yeah, especially now. Let's go with it. But
So, do you have any special projects or a public page that you would like for our listeners to follow you at?
oh my gosh, projects, yes, that I started with my sisters. That's been like really rewarding. That just started not too long ago, and we just finished it, and that was Cheer Hive Nashville. And so I cheered for 14 years. I cheered from the time I was 4 until I graduated high school. And all of my sisters did. We were all like, we cheered and became cheer captain. Like it was a thing with all of us. And she had been coaching like little league, well, not little league, but like Pee Wee teams, junior league. That's what it is, junior league. Football, the cheerleading squads. And she'd been doing it for 7 years, I believe. It has been 7 years that she had done it. And so she just started her own, we do a cheer clinic. And so it's just like 6 weeks, 1 day a week, working with girls 4 to 12 and split them off into groups or squads, teach them dance, fundamentals of cheer, like a cheer dance routine, all while teaching them like self-love and discipline, integrity. And so we call it like honor in the hive. And so that has been like a super cool project to be a part of, like from the beginning. I've never been a part of like something outside of like school or work or something like that, that is really close to home and like helping my community where I came from. So that is like, definitely, I want to promote that. Cheer Hive, it's on Instagram and Facebook. But my Instagram page, I don't mind putting that out there. It's at Beck Monet. So that's BECMONET and 2 underscores. But yeah, that just kind of shows what I've been up to, I guess, on my Instagram. I keep it more updated than Facebook, I feel. So, yeah.
Sounds awesome. Thank you for sharing those projects with us. So people go check out Cheer Hive. I love it. I love it.
Yes, yes.
Y'all need to open up a Murfreesboro division.
I'm telling you, this first time went really well. We were really proud of ourselves. So you never know.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. So Rebecca is a phenomenal young lady, and her bio will be on our page. So if you would like to read more about Rebecca, please visit our website, www.thefearlesscampaign.com, or check our social media pages.
Well, we just want to thank Rebecca for coming on the show, coming on Nerdy Optimism, where we think and we know that everybody has a story, and we're just so thankful for Rebecca for coming on and sharing her story.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely needed it too. So I appreciate it.
Progressive flow. Show me my competitors' race and let you see they ain't nothing like mine.